Hope everybody is doing good tonight or today or whenever you may be watching. Got some cards to open. I got some stuff at the thrift store today, some oddball things. I got a pile of tapes at the store as well. And there's some weird things in there that you might find interesting, you might not. I don't know, because they are strange. And I also have some mail that I already opened, but I wasn't recording like an idiot. The mail is from the ever-generous Jonathan H. I did not know I was getting any today, and it was a pleasant surprise. And it's always a nice thing to get Move On cards. You never have enough. And this is 91 Star Rookie Upper Deck when he was Maurice Vaughn. That smile. So just melt your heart. 92 Fleur Ultra Rookie. I love this set. I want to get some and either do them in the free breaks, or I would like to do some for my PC as well, but I'm worried that they're going to be so bricked that if I do a group break that I'm going to lose so much color from the sticking. I hate that, and I don't want to feel bad if I'm doing it for other people and it happens. But great card, great set. 92 Upper Deck, I can't really see that. Yeah, 92 Upper Deck, Mo. And we got 2 Leaf. It's 92 Leaf, yeah. See what his stats were there. 2 hits. Yeah, I honestly like Move On. It's not just a meme. I think I said it in the video last time, but I think he's a really good guy and does a lot of good for a lot of people, and I absolutely love his swing. I think it's one of the best swings in baseball ever. So this movie that's playing right now, I have to be really careful because it is, well, not right now because it's not tracking, but the Death Stalker series is extremely, not so concerned with the violence as much as the nudity and other things that are in it. I don't want it to be on the video. If you grew up in the 80s or 90s or even the early 2000s and you were going to the video stores and Blockbusters, you know this series, or you know series like them. They're Barbarian Queen. Shoot, I can't think of it right now. All these sword and sorcery movies that were out in the 80s and 90s. And after Conan came out, you had tons of them. The artwork is usually fantastic, and they're kind of like Atari games, or even Nintendo, but Atari had some amazing artwork, and then you play the game and it's Atari. This is very similar. You would get this great artwork, and then you watch the movie, and then you're like, I do love the Death Stalker series. I love the first one, especially. It's strange. I believe the girl in it, I could be wrong, but there's a blonde woman in it who is his love interest, I believe, at one point, and then she's like a barbarian type and Amazonian. She was, I think, murdered by Phil Spector. I could be wrong, but I think that's her. And actually right here I have some, I think. So the artwork was done by Boris Vallejo. I think that's how you say his name. I don't know. I have all these. These are all. I have a bunch of sets of these Boris Vallejo cards, and they're pretty adult, I should say, erotic. And I hated this type of art growing up. Now I think I'm just nostalgic for it because I think of the video store. This is actually the cover to Death Stalker 2. He did a bunch of video games as well, Planet of the Apes style stuff, tons of sci-fi covers in the 80s. But his wife is Julie Bell, and she's a really good artist as well. And recently, if you saw the Nick Cage movie Mandy, which if you haven't and you like weird horror, revenge movies, super stylized. She did the character Mandy in it is believe she's a author, a sci-fi author, and this is, I don't know if it was the 80s or not when this takes place. It's not really in our world. It's like a world kind of like ours, but not. And Julie Bell, his wife, Boris Vallejo's wife, she did the artwork for the movie, and she did the artwork for the books that Mandy had written, which I thought was pretty cool. It's a really interesting, hyper stylized movie. The guy that directed, I can't remember his name, he did Beyond the Black Rainbow, which might be on Netflix, I don't know. But his father was the guy who directed Tombstone with Kurt Russell, and Bill Paxton, and Val Kilmer. And the residuals from Tombstone are what, after he passed away, the residuals from Tombstone funded Beyond the Black Rainbow, which started this guy's career as a director. So, kind of cool. Mandy's a cool movie. Death Stalker, if you like TNA, 80s, USA Up All Night, cheesy stuff, then you probably dig it. Alright, so I got these, which may or may not find interesting. It's not a briar pipe. These are $1.99, and they're miniatures. They're like kind of dollhouse furniture. They're Chadwicks, which are made in Canton, Mass, or out of Canton, Mass. And they might do some stuff in Taiwan as well. But I got this, and I thought, well, that'd be kind of. I just liked that. That was kind of cool. Having a little chop block with a cleaver, and I just put like a little action figure in there, and I don't know what I was thinking because I'm not 8 years old. Well, not physically, but mentally. But I do know that people go crazy for miniatures, and they have a lot of value. Chadwick stuff has a lot of value, so these are probably going to go up on my eBay store. And last year I was at Lowe's, and I saw they had miniature sets of gnomes, and I thought it was like the coolest thing. I really wanted to get them and do like a gnome garden in my yard, and I realized what I was thinking, and I thought I need to see somebody ASAP, because that's not normal. And I think of the King of Hill episode with a woman that was walking her dog, and she was really into gnomes and Babylon 5. And I thought, well, I like Babylon 5 a lot, and I started getting really upset myself. Anyways, gnomes are actually pretty cool. The history, people get really into gnomes, and there's forums where I know a lot of people are kind of role-playing, but some aren't, and you can tell some people really do think gnomes exist. My extent of gnome knowledge kind of begins and ends with David the Gnome for a lot of people my age. And recently I saw it was on Prime, so I was like, I'm going to watch them to put them in the background while I'm doing something. And the last episode, David the Gnome, he actually kills himself. Him and his wife go and they die. It's part of the gnomes. They once they're 400 or 500 years, they go to a hill and they just die and turn to trees. And his fox is chasing him and climbing up this hill, trying to get up there, crying as David and his wife and friend die. And then he just walks away crying, and luckily he finds a new gnome. But I had my nephew, my 2-year-old nephew, watching it with me, and he just looked devastated, and I don't blame him because it was messed up. There were lots of weird shows in the 80s that had weird bad endings, Dinosaurs had the one with the I think it was the Ice Age, and they all died at the end. Alf, I don't remember this because I didn't watch it that much when it was on, but my father and mother hated Alf. It was just something they did not like, and I don't blame him. But he, at the end of the Alf series, he's taken by the government. They finally catch the alien, and it's they're probably taking him and doing experiments on him and stuff. I don't know. So Alf had a really. Anyways, I got this book. from '67 called ESP Life and Lab, Tracing Hidden Channels. It's just a cool book on psychic phenomena in the '60s and tests that they were doing. And it looks older than 65 or 67 whenever it's from, but I don't necessarily believe in this stuff, but I do like to have, anytime I find older, like, books, like usually pre-90s, that deal with paranormal stuff, UFOs and ghosts and things like that, I will buy them. So there's always, I got a couple of things that I don't think are worth showing on camera. So let's open some Prizim. I went to go get leather and lumber because I was determined to get a good hit out of that, and they had nothing. There's one target. There are multiple targets near me, but the one I went to, the one target has pretty much no cards. And I talked to one of the guys that worked there today. I said, you know, are they anywhere else in the store? And he showed me where they would be. There was nothing. And I asked him about the Bowman mega boxes, and he said just as soon as they're out, they're gone. That's what everybody knows. And it was either Panini Prism or Diamond Kings or Don Ross. And I didn't want to do Don Ross because I knew that the new Don Ross is coming out. I really like the optic. I like Don Ross. I think they're nice looking cards. I like that there's a lot of variety in them. So, let's see. Some shiny Hunter Renfro. I apologize. I'm going to try to get this off camera. If you see anything naughty over there, I'm sorry, or you're welcome. Hunter Renfro. I've not got a hit out of these yet. Kyle Wright, Jack Flaherty, and Jeremy Jeffries Blue. I don't know if that's numbered or what. Tomorrow I'm going to go to my local card guy and see if he's got anything. I don't like how these bow. I know it's just par for the course with all these cards, but Severino, Berea, Cabrera, and Justice Sheffield, rookie. I'm going to go and see if he's got anything cool for stuff to give away to people, as well as maybe some wax to break, 3 breaks. Clayton Kershaw. Well, why, in 2019, there's no reason I don't think to have your cards flip it like all backwards. It's such a first world problem, not a third world problem. Mike Minor, Chaniger, and Galloway, but it bothers the hell out of me that companies have cards backwards and upside down, or not backwards, just upside down. So our numbered card on the back: Moncada, Schwarber, got a Scherzer, and Chipper Jones. That's pretty cool. Number 399. I like Chipper Jones. I PC him. I know some other people do. Maybe I'll use it for a giveaway. That's a cool card. I really like that. That's almost hit to me. I saw the autographs, some of the older autographs in the new Donruss Optic, and they're really sharp looking. I saw the Conseco. I can't remember who opened it, but it was a Conseco we got and a Kevin Mitchell. And I'm not a Kevin Mitchell fan. I like Conseco. They were just really nice cards. I like things that are purple. Josh Donaldson, Cat Williams. Nick Williams, Sean Newcomb, and Jose Urena. This guy is from right down the street from me, and I think his parents in my gym, jiu-jitsu. So this is the bonus pack. Moncada, Schwarber, Donaldson, and Martinez. So nothing too great. I think that Chipper Jones is probably the best. I know, like I said, a couple people really really like him. Maybe I'll, like I said, maybe I'll give it away to somebody, or I don't know. Kind of want to keep it for the moment. Okay, so there's that, and then there are the tapes that I got. I'm just gonna. I actually am not gonna grab them randomly. Some of them are just like this. Running a steam locomotive, the video encyclopedia of steam locomotive operation, volume 1. Live the dream of every railroad buff. I know quite a few people who are, oops, can't show that. I know quite a few people that are, let's see if I can kind of flip the TV. That's an adult situation, yikes. Who are really into railroad stuff for trains. I've never been into trains. My girlfriend's father absolutely loves trains and watching train spotting, I guess. And I don't know. This is probably going to go up in my store. It's from Publisher's Choice Video. And 1995 this was released, but 78 this was made. So I actually kind of want to watch this before I put it up for sale. And that dude looks like such a badass. Alright, I got, let's see, these 2 Rugrats tapes. A Rugrats Hanukkah and a Rugrats Passover. I know a lot of people absolutely love Rugrats. I mean, I liked it growing up too. All the Nickelodeon tapes we find usually all have the orange plastic, but these are going up on my store because stuff like this sells really quickly, and it's Nickelodeon. It sells. Nickelodeon 80s, late 80s, 90s, always does good. What else we got here? This compost twin. There's always a place for your scraps. There's always a compost for your garden. We make garden easier by Mentis. I don't know who this person is. Yeah, I had to buy this. I don't know why. I'm probably going to send this to, there's a YouTube channel I really like called Red Letter Media, and I'm sure some of you guys know it. And this is going to go, probably going to send this to them, because they do a lot of reviews on these weird tapes, and I don't know, it's weird. This I thought was a tape. It's not. Sandy Koufax, A Lefty's Legacy. I thought it was a tape, but it's actually a book on tape, on cassette tapes. So this may be a giveaway for somebody that's into the Dodgers or Koufax, or if not, it's going to go onto my store as well. It's in great shape. All the tapes are in there. I checked. And yeah, Sandy Koufax. This same thing, maybe giveaway, or maybe I'll sell it. Basketball legend Larry Bird. Let's see how long this tape is. I'm not a basketball fan. I know Larry Bird, I know some of the Celtics, and when I was a kid I met him, and I met Bill Walton and Robert Parrish, and I sat on, I can't remember who's that, it was either Bill Walton's or Robert Parrish, and I just had a meltdown. I was terrified. NBA hoops, yeah, Larry Bird. This is cool. I'm going to keep this right now. Lightning on Ice, The History of Hockey. I'm not a hockey guy. Reminds me of a Don Russ or Panini card with no team logos on it. But it's hosted by the late Alan Thicke. And it's made by, it's a media video treasure. I love media. I love the logo of media. Whenever I see media, I think of Halloween, because all the Halloween tapes that I had growing up were all media tapes. But I like the way that it looks, and I might watch it. Lightning on Ice, The History of Hockey. What else? So I got this. I had to. End Time Warnings, double tape set. Ancient Prophets, could ancient see the future? This is just going to go into my supernatural tape. So, sorry for that beeping. Okay. Into my supernatural tape collection. I'll probably never watch it, but I like stuff like this. I think they're fun. And these, I assume, I'll move these over. We're all from the same person. So, why do you test me? Does the Virgin Mary appear to Nancy Fowler at Conyers, Georgia, USA? Cameras present at these claims attest to the astonishment of a team of doctors and scientists in this unique and compelling documentary. So, I'm a pretty lucky boy because I found the slip and the clamshell. And, I'm sure you're all extremely jealous of this right now. Is it mass suggestion? Is Nancy hallucinating? I had to buy these because who could resist that face? And this was put out, I'm trying to see who put this out. Produced by Australian lawyer Ron Tesorio and former ABC television producer Bill Steller for Mary Immaculate Productions. From Kincumber, North Southwest Australia. I did look this up, and the only thing I found was something from the Australian National Archives or something like that. I don't know. Weird. So I got this Starman. The great John Carpenter's Starman. I have a couple copies of this. I don't have any sealed. This is going out to somebody. I'm not going to keep it. I know somebody takes John Carpenter. I always forget that John Carpenter did this movie. And I don't know why, but I know a lot of dads who, like, my father loves this movie. And he loved it when I was a kid, and I didn't dislike it. I didn't love it. It existed, but he loved it. And I remember being shown this movie twice in school by two male teachers, and they loved it as well. So it was like a middle-aged dudes in the 90s, 80s. They just seemed to like it, and I don't know why. It's really weird looking on the cover there. It does not look really. Looks like a Android or something. It's got a pretty cool score, and Jeff Bridges was, I guess he studied birds for a while to mimic their movements. He's got these weird kind of the way that his head moves and things like that. And I think Kurt Russell, no. Jeff Bridges was originally going to be in Escape from New York in The Thing, and it didn't work out. And Tom Cruise was originally supposed to play Jeff Bridges' character in this, but he was doing Legend, which I'd love to talk about one day. I absolutely love that movie. I hated it with a passion when I was a kid, and I love it now. I can't think of a movie it's like higher fantasy than Legend, and it's Ridley Scott. Tangerine Dream did the soundtrack. It's so dreamy and so interesting and so influential in whether people know it or not, whether the people that make the music on like black metal and dungeon synth and things like that. And I can't think of a movie that is higher fantasy than that. You know, like Game of Thrones is pretty low fantasy, and then you've got Lord of the Rings getting higher and higher, and then, you know, you get Legend up at the top, and, you know, but with a bunch of crap in between. But it's just a cool Tim Curry, unicorns and friggin' demon, whatever he was, like Satan. Does he say? I don't think he's Satan. And was it Blix, like the Goblin? It's such a cool movie. But yeah, Tom Cruise was originally supposed to do this, and He did Legend instead. There was something else about this that I thought was cool that I was looking at. I don't know. It's kind of if I remember, he said that this is essentially a remake of A Brief Encounter from 1945, which is a David Lean movie about a woman who meets a man on a train, and she's tempted to have an affair with him, and these star-crossed lovers who can't come together for whatever reason. And I don't know why David Lean, he's kind of like in John Hughes, that world where when you hear people talk about directors, the great directors, you hear, Hitchcock, Kurosawa, Spielberg, the list goes on. You don't really hear John Hughes brought up much, and it kind of bothers me. And you don't hear David Lean brought up too much, even though he's, I think you could argue that Lawrence of Arabia is the best ever. Bridge on the River Kwai, Dr. Zhivago, Brief Encounter, Passage to India, I think he did. And, that was his last movie, but man, his movies feel so big. Brief Encounter doesn't. Brief Encounter feels small, but just Bridge on the River Kwai is so damn good. It makes me sick. Lawrence of Arabia is the same way, and George Lucas took so much from Lawrence, at least with Tatooine. Tatooine is, there's some shots lifted, right from Lawrence of Arabia. Dr. Zhivago is great, and I think that's probably, as far as fiction goes, movies go, at least Western movies, maybe the best at showing the destruction that communism can cause. It isn't just destruction of property or anything like that. It's the destruction of your spirit, essentially. I'm not trying to get political. I just talking about that during that time, how bad it was. I think Zhivago's a poet, and he can't write poetry because it causes a rift in the in society. And it's just a great movie. There's that scene where they go to the house, the abandoned house, and it's all frozen. It's like this ice castle. I don't know. It's pretty cool. And he's an amazing director, David Lee. If you haven't seen, Bridge on the River Kwai, it's great. Alec Guinness, so good. And the last movie, which I did not get today, but I have another one. Fly Fishing Basics: A Beginner's Guide. I was actually just going to sell this, put it on my store, and when I saw this receipt, I saw Tight Lines, West Bridgewater. That's a store I used to shop at as a kid, and I don't know why I think about this every now and again. I was thinking about it recently. Tight Lines, it went out of business so long ago. This is from '92. It probably went out of business a couple years later, and I just remember walking in there, and they had giant canoes, like oversized canoes. They were decorative, hanging from the ceiling, and just so many guns. It was ridiculous. Maybe the biggest gun selection of any sporting goods store I've ever seen. But I'm going to keep this because it's from Tight Lines, and I guess I'm nostalgic for it, for kind of like Caldors or something like that, but very local. So the last movie, which I did not get today, but I wanted to bring it up and see if anybody's ever seen it. It's called Real Men, with James Belushi and John Ritter. I don't know what year it came out. 87. It is one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. I'm shocked that it exists and that it was made. It is very hard to describe. James Belushi's like a CIA guy, and his partner gets killed, and it turns out John Ritter looks exactly like his partner, and they need to make a deal with aliens, or I think, and so they have to get John Ritter to go along with it, and he tricks him into thinking that he actually is the CIA agent, and it's just every other line is some type of punchline, some type of witty joke, one-liner, and it's like a cartoon come to life, I guess, like almost Looney Tunes, stupid stuff. Like there's a scene where they're walking down an alley, and John Ritter says, "Who are those clowns?" And he turns around, and they turn around, and it's like a bunch of clowns. It's like it's a clown attack in this alley. They're like CIA agents who dress up as clowns. There's another one where James Belushi's character gets very intimate with a Russian lady, a communist party, or Russian government agent or something, and he comes out and he lights up a cigarette, and John Ritter says, "You should quit, those things will kill you." And Belushi says, "Oh, I only smoke after sex." And Ritter says, "Oh, that's good." He says, "Yeah, I'm down to a pack a day," or something like that. Just every other line is something ridiculous. The soundtrack is insane. I don't know who did the... Miles Goodman did the soundtrack. It's weird. It's kind of a mix between Looney Tunes and the Curb Your Enthusiasm soundtrack, if that makes any sense. Yeah, it sounds a little bit, if you're familiar with the jazz guitarist Bill Frisell. It sounds kind of like his stuff in the 80s and 90s. He did the soundtrack for, he has an album called, I believe, too, Tales from the Far Side, like the Far Side comics by Gary Larson. In the 90s, they did, I think it was in the 90s or in the 80s, they did a cartoon, an animated thing, and he did the soundtrack for it, and it's got this weird, kind of Western, new, I wouldn't say new wave, I don't even know how to describe it, just strange soundtrack, and it's really good. Sorry about that. And it's very similar in this. Tales from Far Side is really cool. It's impossible to find. If anybody wants to see them, I can give you I have them in digital format, and I could give them, upload them and give you a link to them. Gary Larson's does not want his stuff out there. He doesn't want it on the internet, so and I don't think they ever came out on DVD. I think they were only on VHS. And the second one on VHS is really hard to find. But every time they get uploaded somewhere, they're immediately taken down because he's so crazy about his stuff not being out there and not being shared. But they're pretty cool if you like Far Side stuff. They're a very sardonic, cynical vibe to them, and yeah, they're Tales from Far Side stuff, familiar with it. But this is a really strange movie. I think it's on YouTube, and I actually, a few years back, tried to find the director. I can't remember his name. Where is it? Dennis Feldman. And I can't remember why I tried finding him in his email to contact him about something in regards to this movie, and I can't find him anywhere. And yeah, I had some type of question for him about it. Yeah, Real Men. They've seen it. I think there's something that was played on like HBO back in the day. There was always a few HBO movies in the 80s and 90s that everyone remembers. This might be one of them. One of them that I've talked to other people, and people seem to know the movie and they don't know what it is. It's a movie called they don't know the title of it. It's a movie called Fortress. It's an Australian movie about these guys, these kids at a one-room school in the outback. get abducted by 3 or 4 guys in like duck masks. One guy's got I think, or Santa mask. One guy's got a duck mask or something like that. They all have like weird characters and animal masks on and things like that. And they abduct this classroom of school kids, and then and the teacher as well, and they take them. I can't remember, it's been so long since I've seen it. They go to a house, I think they kill the parent, the old people that live there, and then the kids escape, and they go into like an underwater cavern, and it turns into like Lord of the Flies, and they're all making spears, and they kill the attackers, and then at the end of the movie, it's like they're back in the school, and there's a jar with formaldehyde or something, and there's like an eyeball of one of the attackers in there. That was a movie that I've talked to quite a few people about it, and they're like, I remember that movie, and I never remember the name of it. It was Australian. It was on HBO a lot back in the day. So I am starting to ramble, and that's pretty much the end of the video. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to go to the card shop tomorrow, try to get some stuff for the free breaks coming up, and probably buy some other stuff to open tomorrow night. And I'd like to do some more tape stuff if anybody's interested. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you have a good day or good night, or whatever time it is. One more thing. Jonathan H., thank you for the Mo Vaughn cards. I know how much you like Nolan Ryan, and I actually have some right next to me for you. They're kind of next to me. I'm not going to go back there and get them. But do me a favor if you're watching this. Leave me a comment. Tell me some other stuff you like, because I know you get a lot of Nolan Ryan stuff. So, and I know you need a Frank Thomas, Bowman. You didn't get it, and I'm going to see if I can find another one tomorrow. But tell me who else you like, and or if there's anything else you collect as well, because I have a lot of stuff I need to get rid of, and I'm always out and about. So if you're watching, let me know in the comments, and thank you again. I forgot to mention that I also have coming this week a set of Fangoria magazine trading cards from 1992, and I think they're pretty much the cover of the magazine. I don't know what's on the reverse, but they have the cover of the magazine from pretty much all the Fangorias from inception to 92. So hoping they'll be here by Friday, and I'll do a video of them, talk about horror movies. Maybe I'll try the webcam, do a live stream. So just wanted to let anybody know that likes horror movies that something that's coming up.